Start a conversation, you can't even finish it. You're talking a lot, but you're not saying anything. When I have nothing to say, my lips are sealed. Say something once, why say it again? Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Far better. Run away. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter from deep in the bowels of our underground lair, where we're making even more sense than the Tim Walz Lies booth at the State Fair, if that's even possible.
Huh.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of sense because...
that's a high bar there.
Yes. Because that's about all he does is lie. So
I can only say this about Tim Walz. Remember, he got a DWI because he couldn't hear. He was so deaf he couldn't hear the police officer. Yet he was an active National Guard member, an active teacher, football coach. But he was so deaf he couldn't hear anybody.
Right.
That was 23 years later. He finally told the truth that he lied all along. Hey. Just is what it is. Little itty bitty thing, no problem.
Right.
Kamala was working at McDonald's. I had no big deal if it really didn't happen. It's a good story. Here's the thing. People have enough true stories about themselves where they don't have to make up dumb ones.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
By the way, I've heard the song.
Yes, I'm sure you have.
It's Video Killed the Radio Star.
No.
Okay, hold on. It is Duran Duran. No. It's what's Stevie Nicks' band? Foreigner.
Wrong on both counts.
Okay.
She was not in Foreigner, nor was it either of those. Guess wrong on all three counts.
Oh no, it was the other one.
She was
Fleetwood something.
She was in Fleetwood Mac, but no, it's not Fleetwood Mac.
I know who it is though.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
Give me a hint. Because this is going to bother me.
Has to do with the news.
That's the band has to do with the news?
Yeah. And it's not Huey Lewis in the news either.
No, I was going to say them too. I do know it though.
I'm sure you do.
I know it. Talking Heads.
Yes.
Okay.
Psycho Killer by Talking Heads.
It's only my 17th guess.
It's like me with
totally
history
knew
lesson.
The song, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the band just escaped me that it was Stevie Nicks' Foreigner.
For those of you who maybe have joined us recently, we do this at the beginning of every show. I quote some lyrics that have to do with something in the show, and Andrew tries to guess it. And I put it up on the Spotify playlist. Community Solutions, music from the podcast.
I just want to know how we started that.
I don't know. I think I was just looking for an interesting way to open the show and being able to tie in like something people can go listen to that and feel closer to us.
Right. It was like a one-time thing, and it became an every-time thing like 7 years ago, and I don't know how it happened. We did the Super Bowl Shuffle in one show. Why did we do that?
That was much later. Well,
why did we do that, though?
It had something to do with something we were doing.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Jay, before we get into the news here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We never talked about the late night stuff. Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
And getting, I know there's a merger with Big Sky and all that merging, but late night TV, let me ask you a question about late night TV.
Okay.
Obviously, they've taken a lurch politically. I love Jay Leno's comments. Man, he was great about it. Just shut up. Go out there and be funny. Just quit. Quit. Nobody likes to be lectured to. I mean, it was such a great thing. They kept trying to bait Leno to say something politically, and he wouldn't. Whoever was interviewing him. But do you think late night TV is dying because of the left wing? I mean, David Letterman was left wing, but I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, but
or do you think it's a format on broadcast TV that is just kind of, I mean, late night TV's been around since Steve Allen in the 50s. I mean, is it just something that the next generation is not? I mean, my parents used to stay up on Friday night and watch Johnny Carson. Right. Well, is it that, or is it more the politics?
I think it's multifaceted. I think so many people are watching their phones that they're not engaging as much in TV, right? And when they are, it's Netflix, it's things like that, Amazon Prime. So you have fewer people that are watching TV to begin with, especially the networks. And then, yes, you have probably over half of America that is conservative or doesn't like to be lectured to politically by the left. And even if they vote Democrat. And so I think that harms you as well, when you are one-sided like that. I mean, look at the hits that Saturday Night Live was taking, and they weren't funny, and they weren't taking any risks. They were just pulling the Democrat
still
line.
on. I can't believe they're still
they've
on.
changed it a little bit. Now, is it any more funny? I don't know. I'm still not watching it. Yeah. But I hear some of the numbers are better, and they are having some guests on, and they took some shots at Kamala. They took some shots at Joe Biden, and I think that they realized they had to change that a little bit.
Well, I think they also have to stop with the political. How can you be politically correct and be a comedian?
Right, exactly.
You got to be anti that.
Yeah, and it's okay to take shots at the right. That's fine.
Yeah,
but
if it's funny,
also,
it's funny.
If it's funny, also take shots at the left. I mean, I think that's part of it. Is it's so one-sided. It's not funny because it's hateful. It's politically correct is never funny. Funny comes when you're pushing the envelope a little bit.
But Saturday Night Live used to be what every young comedian wanted to get on. Yeah. People wanted to host it.
Oh yeah.
It was groundbreaking. It was kind of like a knockoff of improv variety TV in the 70s.
Right.
And it's I watched it all the way until the 2000s when I thought there was a slew of people who left. Will Ferrell and Daryl Hammond and Tina Fey. And when they left, I thought it was kind of like what happened in the early 90s when they lost Dana Carvey and they lost Phil
Adam
Hartman
Sandler
and Farley.
Yep.
And they couldn't replace them fast enough.
Right.
It's not a show you do for a long time. And they had that golden time. And maybe that's a venue that I don't know if it's sketch comedy is exactly what, but there's so many things that they won't touch now. Maybe the pendulum swinging, but as far as late night TV goes, I think part of it is just the cost of doing it. I mean, why do you need 200 people working on a show? I mean, do you have to have a band? Does there have to be, can you ever change the format of how the show goes?
I think the band is the one thing I probably would still enjoy, depending on who it is.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there as if you're going to change something, first off, you don't have to pay the host $20 million, especially when their ratings stink.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, you don't need 50 producers. You don't need 40 writers. A good comedian should be able to get in a room with a few people and come up with a 5-minute monologue. I mean, that shouldn't take, and maybe because they're not getting the revenue, basic cable, which is what everybody had in the 90s, is what's on the decline right now. And here's the other thing. Why hasn't anybody put a show like this on Amazon or on, maybe that's the next thing, but, I'm kind of surprised something like this that you could download at any time. You don't just stay up till 11:30 on a Monday to watch it. I mean, maybe that's something that's got to change, that time slot. I don't know, but nobody's doing well. I mean, Seth Meyers isn't doing well. Jimmy Fallon isn't doing well. I actually just didn't even know he was hosting the Tonight Show. That's just how tuned out I am from it.
Yeah, he's probably doing the best out of those, and you see a change in him because he had Greg Gutfeld on recently, and it went well. Everybody on the left expected it was going to be he's going to roast him. It was
no, and
genuinely.
I can remember I remember Bill O'Reilly going on Letterman, and they were both funny.
Yeah.
It was like Letterman had fun with it.
Yeah.
That, it was, Letterman went up to a point and didn't go further. I think he got it, and I just don't think now that they're, maybe Letterman had the power to do what he wanted. And I don't know. I don't care for it anymore. The comedians I like, and there aren't many now anymore. I always like the people who are self-deprecating, or they do impressions, or it's kind of anybody's fair game, and it's lighthearted and not hateful, and it's not foul-mouthed. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I like.
Yeah, me too.
So maybe that's just late night just doesn't do it for me anymore. And we have so much more choice than we used to. I mean, there was a time where Johnny Carson and David Letterman and Arsenio Hall were the only guys on TV. I don't know. And maybe now, if you want comedy, you don't have to watch that anymore. I don't know.
Right.
But it amazes me it's taken this long to figure out how off they've been. I just can't believe that to a degree. But
even Conan O'Brien was good.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and he was a writer before that, so I mean, he had a good sense of it too. I know it didn't work out with him on the Tonight Show, but he did have a long run. I mean, anybody who has a 15-year run or whatever it was when Leno took over for Carson, I mean, you got to call it success when you see it.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this: Do you think that it can come back with like different hosts or different, a different format or something like that? Can that be revived?
I don't know. I mean, as it is, because I mean, these really kind of came out of the old variety shows.
Yeah.
And they're not around anymore. And I think things are kind of evolving to internet content. And I don't know. I mean,
people's attention spans just aren't what they used to be.
Yeah,
celebrities don't have
celebrities
don't have to go on these shows to get attention and promote movies anymore.
Yeah,
there was a time where I remember Garth Brooks used to tell a story. He and Jay Leno were very good friends.
Yeah,
and Garth was like, "Oh, if I had a concert in California, if I had an album coming out." If the award shows are coming up, I booked myself on Jay Leno. But a guy like Garth doesn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Make his own website. And I mean, I'm just saying.
Right.
Do you need, the big movie premiere coming out that week? And it's just not.
Well, I think part of it, too, is everybody's eyes used to be on The Tonight Show because that's, that and Letterman is all there was.
Yeah.
And now people's eyes are everywhere. So you go on The Tonight Show, nobody even knows about it. What good does it do?
Yeah, and they can't promote it like they did because you'd see the commercials all week when you had 6 TV channels.
Right.
Now you don't hear about it.
Right.
Oh, man, maybe you're right. I don't know. There's something sad about it, and there's something good about it, too.
Yeah.
I like having more choice, but the nostalgia of I haven't watched The Tonight Show in 10 years.
Yeah, me neither.
Just kind of, I don't know.
Maybe longer.
I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I did too.
I was a big fan of Jay Leno in the 90s. And I remember Carson in the 80s. I loved Arsenio Hall when he was on because he was going for a younger demographic. And I was young, I was a teenager then. And so I don't know. I miss it. I miss it being good, just like I miss Saturday Night Live being good.
Yeah,
I just really miss that. But I don't know. Maybe it's passé now.
Right.
Could be. Speaking of passé, what's going on in Minneapolis?
Oh my word!
What the hell was that? What was him doing? I refuse to call it a her.
No, I will not.
I will not do that. Jay, can I ask a question along this? Why do we always assume when there's a shooting like this that this is a mental illness thing? I know we saw the him get on and rant on YouTube, which YouTube took down. I didn't get to see it. I know you did. I saw a snippet on Twitter, but even they've taken the whole thing off. Or at least I can't find it. Maybe it's somewhere I didn't see.
Yeah.
But you know that we never had shootings like this. I hear, we got to have mental health. We got to have access. We got 66 million people in this country on some sort of mental health drug, mental health diagnosis.
Yep.
And then I'm told, well, nobody has access to it. What? Well, you go back to the 70s, nobody was diagnosed with anything.
Right.
And there weren't any school shootings.
No, there weren't.
So what's going on?
We did better when we were undiagnosed.
What is this?
It's a couple-fold. I think some of it is because of medication.
Yeah.
When you start getting into psychotropic drugs, there are severe things that happen as a result, side effects of taking those drugs. They can be hallucinatory. They can cause depression. That's great. You have depression, so take a drug that will cause further depression.
Yeah, now there's drugs like Rexulti. If your depression pill isn't doing enough, take another one on top of it. And I'll tell you what, you go back to Columbine, which is kind of where everything kind of leads back to that.
Yes.
This Columbine narrative, I always call it, of, the kid's picked on or he's an outcast. They tried to say that about Matthew Crooks, who the one who tried to kill Trump. But Eric Harris was on medication he was in an upper middle class family. He was on depression pills or whatever, Adderall or whatever it was. I mean, he was taking things. So what is this mental health crap? What is this? What is this need to create a victim out of the perpetrator?
Well, like I say, I think part of it are these psychotropic drugs. I think part of it also is children who don't know who they are yet, and you're pressuring them to become a different gender, that the one they are is not good enough. And then you start giving them hormone-changing drugs, and it messes with their systems. And so you have these drugs that are battling each other in the child's body.
Transphobe.
You don't know what those things are doing. And I mean, you look, though, there's a large percentage of recent mass shootings that are perpetrated by trans individuals. Are they all that way? No. There are plenty of other things that are going on, lots of drug use and whatever, although drug use can be a part of that as well. But you listen to this guy, and I'm not going to glorify him. I'm not going to say his name. I am not going to. But here's what I will say about, you listen to that video and you read the manifesto, and you can tell it is the ramblings of a madman. Now, whether that is caused by drugs, or whether that is or some sort of hormonal oddity, or it could be a spiritual issue as well.
Yeah, is there?
Well, not probably, or it could be. It is.
Can I say this too? The decline of religion and the decline of saying something is right or wrong, good or evil, is another problem that I have.
Right.
We have this reluctance to believe that somebody is just downright evil.
Yeah.
And I know everything is not black and white. Everything is not quite like that. But some people are just plain possessed by the devil. Why can't we just say that?
Well, and that's true. And as you listen to this guy, his voice kind of changes throughout the video. There are really manic type actions. in my experience, I would say that this individual definitely was demonized. And yes, that is a problem. We want to medicate everything here in America, but if you go to another country where they don't medicate everything, you will see real quick that there is demonization of people, and you will see people that slither like snakes on the ground, that throw themselves to the ground, that talk in different voices, that have superhuman strength, they rage, and when you cast that thing out in the name of Jesus, it's gone. But here, we just medicate. Medicate. Push it down. Instead of applying a spiritual solution to a spiritual problem, we medicate a spiritual problem, and it causes greater harm because what those medications do to the body, what they do to the mind, and you're not really solving the issue.
You're never solving the issue. It's all masking.
Yes.
100% masking.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you walk into a doctor's office. Yeah, I'm depressed. Okay, here's some pills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's the end of it?
Mm-hmm. And I can guarantee you, when you watch videos and you have these wokesters that are out there screaming at the top of their lungs, or they walk into a city council meeting and just start screaming and screeching, that is demonic behavior. That is something that needs to be addressed spiritually. And instead, these people are on every single antidepressant known to man.
Well, and you talk about the left in this country, and some on the right too, that have moved away from anything spiritual, anything Christian, anything. When there's nothing bigger than you, when you think there's nothing in the world bigger than yourself, then that's how you're going to act.
Right.
If you don't think there's any consequences, if you don't think there's any thing that's, it's just, I think that we, the way these things are reacted to, I have to stay off social media. I have to turn off the news. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's the same narrative every time. We need gun control.
Right.
And
those voices are super loud today.
Yeah,
and last night.
We need mental health. We need more mental health. No, we need less of both.
Yes. I agree.
Gun control has nothing to do with this person.
We had no gun control in the 1800s, the early 1900s.
We had no gun control. We had no gun control until the 80s.
I know.
Nothing happened like this.
Yeah.
So it's just silly. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I've scoured the newspapers and all over the country when President Kennedy was shot. Nobody asked where Lee Harvey Oswald got his gun, or if it was registered, or if it had a scope or a silencer, or it was nobody cared back then. That wasn't the issue. The issue was his behavior, or whoever killed JFK.
Although, as an aside, it's interesting that we're finding out now what kind of gun he used and how he would have had to have gotten that gun, because it was a very strange gun.
Yes,
but that's a different issue.
But the unorganized declassification from our intelligence agencies.
Yes, but I'm working on a sermon for a week from Sunday, and I won't give a spoiler alert on this, but this goes back to the de-spiritualization or the deconstruction of our spirituality as a nation. And if we follow the advice that they give us, follow the science. Whenever you're doing a scientific test, you have to have a constant and a variable. And you test the variable not against another variable, but you test that variable against a constant. And if you don't have something that's constant, if everybody has their own variable that they apply their life to, then there's nothing constant. For somebody, it's okay to go shoot up a school. And we just have to understand what they're going through as a tortured soul. As somebody, goes and rapes a kid, and we're just going to have to understand that that's a tortured soul. They were oppressed in their own country, and they came here, and instead of applying that to the constant of Scripture and saying no, for 250 years in this country, actually going further back, if you go back to 1618, we have believed you don't kill people, you don't steal, you don't commit adultery, you don't.
Yeah, our laws are the 10 Commandments rewritten.
And everybody believed it, whether they were a Christian or not.
Yeah, exactly.
That is where we pulled our morality from, and now it's whatever feels right.
Well, it's just this business of trying to figure out what makes a criminal tick, and if there's some justification for it, all we have to do is look hard enough.
Yeah.
That I don't know where that started. I think for schools, it all started with Columbine. It all started with, how does Dylan Klebold, who got accepted to college, like went to his prom the weekend before?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Look, I don't know the answer. What I know was that the signs of somebody having this type of behavior. You don't wake up one morning and just do this stuff.
No.
And I'm not blaming his parents. I'm not blaming anybody. What I'm saying is this whole idea that we've got to psychologically dissect everything misses the point of or we just drug them until they're doped up.
Yeah. Well, and this is where the DFL gets it wrong. Well,
where do they get it right?
Right. But this is where they have done greater harm. They have made a law where if somebody comes to you that's transgender and is confused, or they're maybe not transgender yet, but they're confused about their identity, you cannot steer them away from transgenderism.
Yes, you have to do what's called gender affirming care. You have to affirm what they believe rather than try to.
You can't do gender conversion therapy. That's outlawed. But yet, as a Christian, that is exactly what I would do. And if I'll tell you this,
somebody did that to me, I would do it.
Yeah.
Go arrest me, Tim Walls.
Yep, absolutely.
Put me in a room with you. I'll kick your ass so bad you wish you died as a child. I wouldn't follow that for anything. And you know what? This is where I blame doctors for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the MMA, I mean not MMA, but the medical association, they've gone along with a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
I think that because Democrats always put, look at what the experts say.
Yeah.
It's not us. Look at the experts.
Well, that's the progressive playbook.
Yeah, right. You have no right to question anybody that is alphabet soup after their name. That's part of the progressive playbook. So I blame doctors for a lot of this.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to early 1900s with Louis Brandeis and all those guys.
Yeah.
So it's
you could argue it goes further back than that.
Yeah.
If
it was a concerted effort, though, that started around that time. So it's
even Brandeis, though, I don't know, could have foreseen this.
Right.
I mean, he definitely was one of the people behind sort of the. I don't even know how you call it.
Just to trust the expert movement,
right?
You know,
the elites should run the masses, but I don't know that this is. But this is an unintended consequence of that belief. You know, look at what happened during COVID. It was all, you have to listen to the doctors, and I always say this. I always talk about what my wife used to talk about when she was. Because she was in, long-term care at the time.
Yeah.
And actually still is. She's still in, and she goes, nobody who made any rules ever worked on a COVID patient. They never went to any of these facilities.
Yeah.
They never stuck their head. They never talked to family members. They sat in an office in St. Paul and made arbitrary rules.
Yes.
That's what they did. So... yeah, it's terrible, and I just, by the grace of God, will somehow get through it. And but unfortunately, it's not going to be the last one until we change our approach with people and we stop drugging them. We get back to spirituality. We get back to right and wrong. We get back to punishing the guilty. We get back into, if somebody does something wrong, there's a consequence. We got to get back to that. Yeah. We got to get away from the shades of gray and back to absolute truths and consequences for that.
And we're starting to see a backlash against that, but who's going to win in the end? That's the big question.
Well, I think the pendulum is swinging back and forth. Yeah. I think the 90s kind of popularized these diseases. I think it swung one way for a while. Yeah. Then it swung big time. Now it's swinging back. I mean, just hopefully it doesn't swing back too hard. But speaking of swinging back, Jay.
Yeah.
We have done a lot of talking about how the Dems are lost. And I've lived through the Republicans twice in my lifetime being a lost party.
Yes.
After Clinton won, they rebounded in 94. But the Clinton win was definitely I think it wasn't the seismic shift, but it was definitely a wake up call for a lot of people on the right.
Yeah.
And of course the Obama win in 2008, which I still feel was more Republican mismanagement that caused that. You could argue that in 92 also.
I think that also, though, Perot had a bit to do with some of that, too, playing spoiler.
True, but if the country had been doing better, Perot would not have had a base to go, he was there because George H.W. Bush would not fight the way he did in 88. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He just refused. I think that was a problem as well. And I think in 2008, the Iraq war and all that just disintegrated Republicans.
Yeah. And Bush was no Reagan either.
True. He was
a globalist.
He was everything Republicans try not to be right now.
Yeah.
Even though I do think he did some good things, but I think it's hard to argue George W. Bush's presidency was a success. I'm not gonna argue. I voted for him twice, and I'm not gonna go get in that argument. Okay, but I think that out of that, for Republicans came the Tea Party and then MAGA. I mean, two things that helped the party revive. Now, two times in the last 60 years, the Democrats have won one state in an election, and they were able to come back.
Right.
So you got to figure that they're going to be able to at some point.
People's memories are short.
They are. Yeah. And, Republicans can turn gold into lead. We know that.
Yeah.
Not so much Trump, but people around him as he continues to be a lame duck. And he'll be different because he has JD and because he just has. I've never seen a president more powerful. I've just never seen one before.
Right.
Or, he says anything and it's news for. I mean, the guy has so much fun playing with. The guy who hates the media, he has so much fun playing with.
Oh,
them.
I know.
But I keep thinking to myself, we're coming up on 10 months since the election, which is a long time in politics.
Yeah.
10 months is a long time.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, think of the 10 months prior to the election and everything that happened. From the Biden-Trump debate, Biden dropping out, the assassination attempts. So many things. A lifetime of things happened in 2024.
Yes.
And 10 months since that election. And Trump basically became the president in November.
Right.
For the most. Biden just totally checked out. The only thing he did was pardon people. And we've had a whirlwind of activity in his time back in office. I still can't think of a time, and I was trying to do some research here, where a party has been this discombobulated.
Yes.
I mean, even when they lost to Reagan, They still had the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the party was different then.
Right.
But they still had, there were a lot more purple states. They had a lot of governors and stuff in the South.
Yeah.
And in, all the different parts. They were more of a 50-state party. Where they are right now, I keep thinking to myself, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I want a strong Democratic Party. That sounds weird, but I want the Republicans on their toes. I want the Republicans to deliver. And if they think they're not in jeopardy of losing ever, then they aren't going to. It's kind of like being a Republican in Wyoming.
Right.
Okay, I know that the Democrats aren't going to beat me, so I don't have to.
Right.
I mean, I'm more worried about a primary than I am anything else.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't want the Republicans having that attitude.
Right.
So,
and it's already hard enough to get some of Trump's stuff codified or to get things through.
they haven't done a whole lot of that.
No.
They've done some, but they've done about 1/10 of what I want.
Yeah.
Because I'm very concerned about an executive order being reversed. I mean, look, we saw this in Trump's first term. All the things Biden undid with the stroke of a pen because we didn't put them into law.
Yep.
So, but anyway, the Democrats could still do okay next year. I don't think they will, but they could.
Yeah.
It's possible. The House is what? 222 to 213, I think, is the House number. Something like that. 220. I mean, it's nothing that can't be overcome.
No.
The Senate, I think, is a problem for the Dow. I think it's a problem. I mean, I think the Republicans might actually gain a seat or two in the Senate. We'll see. But where they are, Jay,
Yes.
and where they could end up, okay, because we're going to get into the next census and the next, where I think it's going, registered voters and things like that. Before we get there, though, your take on the state of the Democratic Party right now. I mean, if you were a Democratic voter, okay, A, how would you assess the party? And B, what do you think about the direction they're heading?
Well, a friend of mine, him, Dale Witherington, puts it this way. The Republican Party is a dumpster fire. The Democrat Party is Chernobyl. Right? I mean, I've never seen a party more out of touch. I mean, at least when the Republicans do bad, it's not that they're out of touch. They just really have no way to market themselves. Their messaging is terrible, whatever. No, this group of Democrats is completely out of touch with American values.
Okay, but this is what I don't understand. I don't know that I agree with that when it comes to the average Democratic voter. I don't think the average Democratic voter, not the person screaming at a city council meeting or singing in the streets in Boston. The average Democratic voter, I don't think. Do you think they just are voting Democrat out of habit? Are they voting Democrat because their dad did or their union told them to, which actually they're not anymore?
Yeah.
Do you think that? No, I mean,
the Democrat Party is hemorrhaging.
I don't know many Democrats who want an open border. Not politicians. I'm talking about.
Right.
I don't know many of them who want more and more people to just get free stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know many Democrats who want a 5-year-old boy to be a girl. I don't know very many of them.
Yeah.
Yet they're voting for people who are. And at what point, and this is where I don't know if there's an opening for a third party, because some of those people just won't vote Republican. But what is the average Democratic? Why don't the Democratic voters take control here? And stop being talked down to.
Yeah.
Why don't they just say no more of this?
Well, I think that both on the right and on the left. Your people that are more in the middle don't pay a lot of attention when it's not 90 days before an election, maybe 60 days before an election. I think that they go about their lives and they affiliate with one party or the other, or they're true independents and they will kind of go back and forth. But I think a lot of them spend most of their life not watching the news, not reading news stories on the internet.
I think that's harder to avoid now.
I think it's harder to avoid now, but I think that they might scroll past them in their feed or whatever,
They get tired of it.
Yeah. And I don't blame them, but
I get tired of it.
Yeah. But we still have to be informed because it's too important right now not to be informed. But unfortunately, I think that's a lot of what's going on. So, yeah, I'm a Democrat. And, they might be slightly pro-choice. They might not like the transgender thing, but they're willing to hold their nose for it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're the diehards, like the people that are out screaming at city councils. But
see, to me, if a Democrat would come along and say exactly that, I am not supporting the trans crap. I am not supporting open borders. I am not, and be authentic about it.
Yeah.
I think they'd get cheered. I actually think that I actually am stunned that nobody has, because once one person does it and another person could do it, and another person could do it,
right?
And another person could do it. It's sort of like
courage comes in numbers,
right? I don't understand. Let me use Rahm Emanuel as a great example of this.
Okay.
And Rahm's a smart guy. He's a better behind the scenes guy, I think, than he is out front. But he goes on Megyn Kelly's podcast. Okay, and Megyn treated him well.
Yeah.
Okay, and Rahm is conversational. I mean, he's, like I said, he's not a stupid person. But what's the one question Megyn Kelly's going to ask you? She's going to ask you about the trans stuff.
Right.
She's huge on that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she had to ask Rahm the same question like 4 times. He had no answer.
Right.
And when he finally sort of said, yeah, all right, it really isn't fair.
Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, I'll probably get, eviscerated by my own party right now. That was probably the dumbest answer he could have given.
Right.
He should have said, no, it's wrong, and I am not for it.
Yeah.
And I bet the reaction, because the reaction from everybody was, even me, it was like, can you say one thing I agree with?
Yeah.
And I know so many people probably watched that and just cringed at those answers.
Yeah, probably. And because he's kind of an unknown, because he is a behind the scenes
Well, he was the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, but yeah, I guess a mayor is not.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Brandon Johnson and you're saying stupid stuff every day.
Pretty much. But yeah.
He was kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. But it was like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's wrong. Just do it and be authentic.
Right. But you had Gavin Newsom, who was like, yeah, it's not fair for boys to be competing with girls, but he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it.
He doesn't believe it.
He runs his state completely different.
He threw out something to see what would happen. He backed off right away.
Yep.
It's not sincere. It's a total lie. Gavin Newsom has the ability to look you right in the... This is what's scary about him, though.
Yeah.
He can look you right in the eye, lie right to your face, and you can still walk away liking him. And that is quality. That's scary.
Yes, it is.
That's a scary quality. Somebody can have that. I haven't met too many people like that, but he's one of them. Because he could smile and lie right to your face. He doesn't sweat. He doesn't nothing. If he runs, I want. He said Joe Biden won the debate against Trump last year, and that ought to be J.D. Vance ought to run that commercial.
Yep.
He's probably going to have $3 billion, by the way, when he runs.
Yeah.
Will run that commercial every 2 seconds. But you're right. There's an inauthenticity to it.
Yeah.
It's like a Democrat can't. If Donald Trump were sitting here, he could sit here with you and me, and we could talk all day long about 5,000 subjects.
Yes.
And Trump wouldn't shut up. Would have 400 things to say. Wouldn't care if you disagreed with him. Wouldn't care what somebody said about it.
But he'd give you his honest opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no Dem that will do that. No. Every answer is poll tested. Now, look, if I'm wrong, there's nothing wrong with being prepared, though. Because if I'm wrong, I got to say, okay, how do I want to answer that? What do I want the headline to be when I come out of this interview? And when he came out of it, it was cringe.
Yeah.
And I was cheering for him to do well. I was like, come on, let's have somebody who can light a fire under these Dems, just to see what happens. Let me make it interesting to watch. And it wasn't. It was boring.
Yeah.
And so, but that's when I look and I see, okay, how can you, it's like, and here's the other thing too. It's like the Dems who understand that they have to pivot, that the party is out of step.
Yeah.
Either A, don't know how to do it, B, are afraid to do it, and I don't know why. I don't know what they're so scared of. What, are you scared of AOC?
Yeah.
Who the hell is she? She's a bartender from New York. You're afraid of her? I mean, seriously, I remember Nancy Pelosi, when she was asked about the squad, goes, that's like 5 people. I mean, she put them in their place, and it's not that way anymore.
No.
And they've let the inmates run the asylum, and now they can't get the asylum back. But I'm telling you.
It's hard because you have these octogenarians that won't let go of power.
Oh, you got that.
And then you've got the millennials who want the power. The Gen Xers in the middle never got to have their turn, and so they're trying to fight for crumbs. And so you've got this. People want something different. They don't want these dusty old... Harry Reid.
Right, but Biden represented that.
Yeah.
Steny Hoyer. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer.
People are done with it.
Yeah.
But what do they have left to go to? These nut jobs on the other side that are louder than anybody else.
Okay, but where are the people in the middle of that? Why can't someone emerge and say, I'm going to be a leader, whether you call me a leader or not?
And the people who, I will say, as much as I don't like him because I think he's an inauthentic dope, Hakeem Jeffries is not crazy left like they are. I mean, he tries to walk the middle of the road.
He's liberal but not crazy.
It's a terrible job at it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He can't lead anybody.
Nobody has any regard for him.
Yeah,
they're just nobody has any. Nobody's afraid of him.
No.
Yeah, I think he's liberal but not crazy. That's a good way to describe him.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have the leadership skills to run the House of Representatives. I mean, you've got to be ruthless, number one.
Yeah.
You have to have authenticity and an agenda, and you've got to have you got to be willing to face the consequences of it.
Right.
And he's not willing to do any of that. He's just sort of there because he was the next guy in line, and the opposition to him doesn't have a person or the votes to replace him. That's really the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be replaced, but by who and who would satisfy nobody would.
Right.
I mean, if the Dems became
Rashida Tlaib,
if the Dems took over the House, I don't know who'd be the Speaker.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't think it would be Jeffries though, because I just don't think he'd have the backing of everybody.
Right,
and he'd be too wobbly to just lay down. This is how it is, and we're going to focus on this and this and this, and that's it. But what is so hard about? I'm still kind of lost. How do I put this? There are a lot of people in politics who are obsessed with being right.
Yeah,
and they put winning somewhere after that. You know, it's like I voted for people in my life where, I didn't quite agree with them on this, or I wasn't as enthusiastic about them. But I have to, at the end of the day, worry about winning and not about being right. If the Dems want to go down the road that they're going to go down, they're going to permanently be the minority, or at least for a while.
Yeah.
At some point, they'll figure it out. I don't know when, but at some point it will probably happen. But they have to recognize that rage is not a platform, that hate is not an agenda.
Yeah.
And just being the loudest is not getting them anywhere.
Right.
So I've thrown out, you know what they need? They need a Democratic Trump.
Yeah, they do.
That's I threw out 3 names to run for president that I think could win the nomination. And that's Mark Cuban, Stephen A. Smith, and Bill Maher. Yeah. I think they're their 3 best candidates.
Oh, I don't like any of those guys, but
I don't
Stephen A. Smith maybe.
I don't like Cuban. I like the other 2 a little more. Maher is okay on a few issues. Stephen A. is too much black this, black that.
Yeah,
but a smart guy who has been on the forefront of a lot of the cultural stuff.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, Bill Maher's too anti-Trump, too
anti-Christian as well.
Yeah, anti-Christian for me, but he's against the trans stuff. He's for borders. He's at least a voice of. He's yelled and screamed at Democrats on a show for not,
Right.
I mean, so I could see maybe a caricature of him is more what I'm thinking, but they need a cowboy.
Right.
They need somebody because they're hemorrhaging everything. But here's my question to you. In fact, actually, we're going to play a little game.
You know, while you're getting that set up, it was funny. There was a poll recently where I think Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, polled higher than Kamala Harris or any of the other people that they're looking at. But I don't think he'd do it because saw him go away. He had supported Kamala the first when she ran with Biden, but not when she ran by herself.
No, and I don't think
he stayed out of it completely.
I don't think he's all that liberal either.
No,
I don't.
No,
I really don't.
I think on some things he might be a little bit, but I think he's playing that middle road because he's still making a lot of money out of entertainment.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. So, I mean, I think that he's smart enough to well, I remember that when he did talk about regretting voting for Joe Biden. That was one thing I remember he did in an interview. And I'm pretty sure he's registered still as an independent.
Yeah.
I don't know where he lives.
I don't either.
I don't know where he lives. But anyway, why don't we play a little game, Jay?
Okay.
2028. I'm going to give you 2 names.
Okay.
We'll play this a couple times. You tell me who's more likely to be the 2028 Dem nominee and why.
Okay.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start Newsom or AOC.
Ooh. Wow, we're not even going like sliding into a bracket. It's like, bah, here it is.
Well,
semifinals.
I just have a bunch here that I'm curious.
Okay. Goodness. I think Newsom, because he can lie his way into it, and I think he can come off as polished, and everybody knows that California is just a mess.
Right. I'm not worried about who's going to win.
Everybody also knows that AOC is dumb as a box of rocks. Yeah. So if the 2 of them were to debate, Newsom would definitely win the debate. I think that he could probably win the electorate over.
Okay. How about this? Let's go Josh Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer.
Ooh. Wow, that's a tough one. Gretchen Whitmer has come more to the middle. She played the far left card when Biden was in office, and now she's come back to the middle, even like appeared with Trump and, stuff like that. Democrats might not like that so much, although Shapiro has kept a very low profile, especially since the incident with his home being set on fire. So, see, to me, like, if you're looking at, say, a bracket, I think Newsom and AOC would be towards the top of that bracket as they come together.
I'm going to put Newsom with other people too, so I'm kind of. But
I think that both like Whitmer and Shapiro would be eliminated early on. But in an early bracket, what
does your gut tell you? Which one would be?
I think Shapiro might win that one.
Okay. How about we'll try this? Andy Bashir.
Yeah.
Wes Moore.
Bashir, because I'm not certain who Wes Moore is.
Governor of Maryland.
Oh, that guy. Again, Bashir has been so low profile. Wes Moore has been a little more outspoken lately, especially when it comes to some of the immigrant stuff. So maybe Bashir would pull that out because Wes Moore is definitely pro illegal immigration.
All right, that's interesting. We'll go a hometown person.
Yeah,
Amy Klobuchar and Josh Shapiro. We'll bring Shapiro in again.
Okay. I think Shapiro. I think Amy Klobuchar outside of the state is a big zilch.
Funny thing is, she actually has a great issue she could run on, and she won't do it.
Yeah.
Fighting crime when she was Hennepin County attorney.
Yeah, but
she has distanced herself from that.
Absolutely.
And that is really hurting her.
Yep. I think nationwide she doesn't have a platform.
Yeah.
I don't think
she has anything.
She has tried to elevate that, being the person that was in charge of the whole inauguration the last time around.
That's nothing. Trump drowns out everybody.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Let's bring Bashir back in.
Okay.
Let's bring him against Gavin Newsom. What do you think?
Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. Okay.
Higher profile.
Yeah. All right. How about we're going to bring in the astronaut, Mark Kelly. And we're going to have his fellow senator, Ruben Gallego.
Oh. Mark Kelly would win that.
Yeah. I agree.
More common sense.
Yeah, exactly. No question about it. Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah.
And we'll put him against Gavin Newsom. Rahm Emanuel, and we'll put him against Josh Shapiro.
That's an interesting one. I think Rahm Emanuel maybe because he can get Obama money behind him.
I think the money's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play one against the field.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris against the field.
Ooh. Right now she is losing to Gavin Newsom, I think, isn't or is she ahead? I saw a poll. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I don't know. I think that her decision not to run for governor of California has nothing to do with her wanting to run for president.
Right.
It has to do with the fact that she thought the field would clear for her, and it is not going to.
No. Oh, goodness. Oh, that's a tough one because, again, Gavin Newsom, super polished, state's a mess, lies to you like nobody's business. Kamala, just dumb as a box of rocks, can't talk her way out of a box, but yet she's from the same state.
It's pretty rare, though, that a presidential loser gets a second bite at the apple. That's very rare.
It is.
You got to go back to what? Adlai Stevenson? I mean, it's just...
Reagan. Well...
Oh, but he... I mean... I
see what you mean.
They're the nominee.
Making it to the general.
But, of course, she didn't earn it, so
right.
That's another factor.
But I don't think she would have earned it either.
She would have come close.
If they had had a fair process.
They haven't had a fair process since Obama versus Hillary.
And even that, I would say Hillary was in the lead, and all of a sudden Obama is the guy.
Something happened behind the scenes. Something happened.
It did.
Whatever it was. I mean, if there was any real dirt on the Obama, the Clintons would have found it. I always say that.
Yeah.
Reverend Wright was the only thing anybody could find. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to say one thing, too. How about everybody we just talked about versus somebody completely unknown?
Yeah.
What's your bet there? Every single person I just mentioned versus somebody we didn't mention.
I'm trying to think who would. I mean, who would? Jasmine Crockett? No, nobody's going to vote for her.
No
idea. Who else would? Cory Booker or not Cory Booker? Well, maybe Cory Booker would try something like that.
All style, no substance, just like Gavin.
Yeah,
but Gavin has a higher profile and is better at that.
Didn't Cory run in the preliminary process? last time
and he
around?
was gone by.
Yeah, he was, but
tried to scream his
so
way
was
out.
Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't even mention Pete Buttigieg.
Right. I imagine he's in the running. I don't imagine him doing much of anything. I really don't.
Running based on what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. When I think about who can run, none of it has anything to do with anything they've done.
Right.
You know, it's like if you ask somebody what Gavin Newsom's done to help people in California live better lives, I don't know that even people who voted for him can come up with anything.
Right.
The other guy in Illinois, same thing. Other than having money, what's his name? Pritzker.
Yeah. Oh, he might be in the running too. And he's got a ton of money.
And that would be the only thing that would put him in there.
Right. Because he's another just big loser.
I mean, there's nothing in Illinois that he's done that he can point to.
No.
That's why
he talks bad about Trump.
That's why I say it's going to be somebody we didn't mention. Now, I got one more 2028 question for you.
Okay.
Before we get into the voter registration, the electoral college stuff, which I want to talk about. J.D. Vance's Veep.
Yeah.
Let's just assume J.D.'s the nominee, and I think it's a pretty good assumption right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is J.D. Vance's Veep? Give me a couple people.
Could be Marco Rubio.
Okay, could be.
Yeah, it could be DeSantis.
Could be. They're going to be very high on the list.
Yes, they are.
Is there a chance he picks a woman?
There's a chance. Kristi Noem has done a very good job in her role. Trying to think of current governors that.
Well, Sarah Sanders is always somebody who's mentioned.
Yep.
You know.
She would be a good addition to the ticket, I think.
Because you got to figure it's the new generation. So Vance is going to pick another person young.
Right.
Or relatively young.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to pick somebody who's 70. He's going to pick somebody.
Yep.
He'll be what, like 45? So that's pretty young for president. So, and just think, if it's a Vance DeSantis ticket.
Yeah.
Because I think DeSantis would just be miserable as the vice president.
Probably.
Because he's just a total alpha male.
Yeah.
Just like Trump. And I just think in a nothing role.
But could he do
DeSantis and Trump, who have this interesting relationship.
Yeah.
They're the two biggest alpha males in politics.
Yeah.
And they grudgingly like and respect each other.
Yeah.
You could, when they went down to that alligator Alcatraz, you could see the two of them. They get along all right, but they're just alpha males.
Right.
And I just feel like DeSantis, I don't know how he'd handle being vice president. Bigger than, Vance is trying to, Trump's giving Vance that role a little bit, like a liaison to the Senate. Of course, Vance used to be there, so it makes sense. And he's speaking on the world stage a lot and kind of doing what Reagan did with George Bush Sr.
Yes.
So you can see the how it's being positioned. But man, DeSantis is the Veep. I mean, I would love to see him like run a department because he'd be so good at it.
Oh, absolutely.
At the same time, it's like, God, I want to set up the next guy and the next guy and the next guy.
And there's a deep enough bench. I mean, really, they could do it if they didn't screw things up.
Exactly. They could for a while. DeSantis is younger than me. I mean, he's 47, so he's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
And he can't run for another term. So
Right.
it looks like Byron Daniels is going to be the candidate down there, is what I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of my latest inside info. So although I hate losing him in the House, I really hate it. But so I mean, I agree with. Look, Marco Rubio's a potential rival, but I think Rubio sees the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I saw a poll that one of the Republican pollsters, either Insider Advantage or it wasn't Rasmussen, and I don't think it was Trafalgar either. But Vance was ahead by like 40.
Yeah.
But you know who was second? I think was DeSantis. Third was Donald Trump Jr.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't think he would do it because he was very instrumental in picking J.D. Vance.
Yes.
But I think Don Jr. has a future doing something. I don't think he wants to be president, but I think he's got a
maybe someday.
Maybe, but I think he has a future doing something. I'm very curious what his role is with the administration, because he is a behind the scenes guy. Sometimes you see him out.
Yeah.
And he seems to have more, just always curious what his influence is. He's kind of a mysterious figure a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like him a lot more than I like Jared Kushner, but I mean, I just kind of wonder what Don Jr.'s role. You know, and Laura Trump is another person that a lot of people think has his daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
A lot of people think has a future too. So I think, although, you know, there was a rumor she was going to run for Senate, but it's going to be Mike Whatley.
Yeah.
Who's going to win in North Carolina? Don't give me this Roy Cooper BS. Mike Whatley was the head of the RNC, meaning he has every single Republican donor on speed dial throughout the country. Just trust me. He'll have $1 gazillion when he runs.
Yes.
So that's any dark horse Veep? I mean, is there anybody else you can just throw out there as maybe JD throws us a curveball? Because there's a lot of ways you can look at a Veep.
Yeah.
You know, I think when Trump picked Mike Pence, he wasn't in control of the party at that time.
Right.
Needed a stalwart, needed a guy in some of the areas maybe that he was weaker in. You know, and Pence kind of reassured some of those people.
Right.
I think Vance, it was all about picking a successor.
Yes.
You
indeed.
know, so how do you go about that process?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to look at it that way. When you're not coming in to try and win a certain segment of people. You've got the people right now. You have to pick a successor and train somebody up and then start putting them out in front of people so that when it's their turn, you know, you have trained somebody up and they're not an unknown quantity. People are comfortable with them. People know them. People know that they can lead the country. I think that that's all very important. When you had, again, George Bush Sr., Dan Quayle wasn't quite up to it. Now, I think he got a really bad rap. I think that the Dems were effective in kind of destroying him,
along with the media,
unfortunately, and with the help of the media
did to it.
You know, I think he would have done just fine. However, because you have to pick somebody, I believe as well, that can handle the media in this day and age. Yeah. That, you know, isn't gonna, oh shucks, I spelled potato wrong. You know, it's got to be.
Doesn't that make JD just even a better pick? It just sets the bar
right
even higher.
That's why if you can get a Rubio, you can get a DeSantis, you can get a
battle-tested people,
somebody that's not afraid to go to the media and say, "Shut up," you know.
I'm reminded of the Bush Dukakis debate when they questioned Bush about Dan Quayle.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to those debates, you see every George Bush seniorism that Dana Carvey would make famous. We talked about Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I remember my favorite was the talking in incomplete sentences.
Yeah.
And Bush said something, and I'm paraphrasing, Bush Sr. said, yep, picked Dan Quayle for vice president, made a good selection. Good selection. American people. It was all incomplete sentences. American people are seeing it. Had 2 terms in the House. Had 2 terms in the Senate. Met with Thatcher. Met with Gorbachev. It was all just... and I'm just cracking up just watching it. Good selection. Good selection. It was just hilarious. Yeah, but you're right. I think Bush Sr. tried to pick a baby boomer. I think he did that on purpose, thinking down the road. Right. I've got to pick somebody young and different, and you can look at it that way. I think Quayle would have been fine had he been president someday, if it would have happened, if George Bush Sr. would have won a second term. Mm-hmm. Certainly Quayle would have been set up to run.
Right.
Incidentally, we talked about the Democrats. Can I just say one thing real quick? Yeah. I watched a Bush-Gore debate.
Oh, boy.
And I got to say, some of the things Al Gore said, I had to refresh my memory that they came out of a Democrat's mouth. He talked about the importance of supporting Israel, of a balanced budget. Mm-hmm. He talked about banning late-term abortion. And I'm just going, whoa, wait a minute.
I don't know that they meant any of it.
I think he meant some of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of it, but you wouldn't hear those things. Balanced budget?
Yeah.
What? It was eye-opening. I was just like, oh, my goodness. Because I always considered Gore more left, than Clinton. But,
right.
Maybe he wasn't sincere. I don't know. But it was, he did fairly well in those debates, my opinion.
Yeah.
But whatever. They talked about opposition to gay marriage and, the Defense of Marriage Act. Gore supported it, supported the ban on cloning, it was just very, very different from
right
what's changed in 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever year that was. 2000, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2000.
Yes, 2000.
Okay. Now, Jay, more bad news for Dems.
Yes.
The voter registration stuff.
Yeah.
The New York Times had a reluctant piece. Why do I pay the New York Times? You know why I do it? For you people in the audience. Every month I pay the New York Times to access their BS.
Better you than me.
Now, the New York Times is trying to play down this voter registration thing.
Yes.
That Republicans really are taking pages out of the Democrats' book. They're doing the groundwork now that 20 years ago the Democrats did and the Republicans didn't. I think Trump's changed a lot of that. Trump's side groups have changed a lot of that.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk's group, Turning Point, the group in Nevada, I can't remember their name. They already did it to Florida. And Scott Pressler, who wants to, what he says, Florida, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So, and they're taking to the streets. They haven't stopped just because they want to. That's another thing Republicans used to do. They win an election and they quit doing the work. But since Election Day, Jay, since Election Day, 1.1 million people have either left, no longer a registered Democrat, or have registered Republican. You've seen, or they've gone from Democrat to Independent, whatever. You've seen a shift, a net gain of 1.1 million registered voters in the 29 states that register by party. Minnesota doesn't. We're one of the states 21 that don't. And the biggest shifts are happening in the purplest of states.
Yeah.
Arizona, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Nevada. That's where it's happening more than even the states that the Republicans already own, or that they're behind and catching up. So 1.1 million. Let's just say, I'll just say for conversation's sakes, they add another million in the next, between now and the 2026 election.
Yeah.
And the advantage that Republicans have in hard money, where they never have an advantage in that. Never have the DNCC. not the committee, but the congressional committee. That's the only one competing with Republicans in money right now.
Yeah.
The Republicans are creaming people in raising money, which is
unheard of.
It's unheard of. It's shocking. I can't believe Ken Martin still has a job right now. He's, coming from Minnesota, he has been a disaster.
Have you watched any of this thing they've had in Minneapolis for the last couple of days?
It's been silly, sick, horrible.
Every time the Democrats seem to have any kind of get-together, it's a clown show.
Yeah, I mean, and so what is that? I mean, in Pennsylvania, let me give you an example. This is one example. And this is, again, registered voters are a little bit... In Pennsylvania, independents tend to lean right. But when Trump won the state in 2016, Democrats had an advantage in registered voters of 500,000. 500,000. And Trump was able to pull off the state anyway.
Yeah.
Before the election in 2024, that was down to 150,000. Wow. Now it is down to less than 50,000. They are almost overtaken Democrats and registered voters in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
I mean, that's Herculean.
Yes.
And I actually think their advantage is bigger than that. I actually think it may not be on paper, but I actually think the advantage, I think they probably already have it. This is as of July 31st. I think that the independents are leaning to the right there. I think that Pennsylvania, there's a good chance that's, we talk about Florida-ing Pennsylvania. There's a good chance that's Florida or Ohio by like 2032.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think there is, especially with the economy there, so energy-based.
Yeah.
Who brings the energy jobs? Used to be Democrats with coal.
Right.
And the Democrats there used to support that
But now
stuff.
they can't touch coal.
Yeah.
Can't touch fracking.
Can't touch even steel making.
Yeah.
Is declined there. So the advantage that they have in Arizona is now about 350,000. They had an advantage there before, but independents in Arizona tended to vote left. So there was a little bit of a goof there. Republicans didn't do the best job of getting out their people there. That changed last time. They got every Republican vote in that state in 2024. So, and they've closed the gap very much in North Carolina. They've been behind in North Carolina, even when it was a red state. And that gap is closed big time. So, I mean, you look at that, and I want to say this. You look at a future census, Jay.
Yeah.
In 2030, for the 2032 election. Now, depending on the source, because the citizenship question is a big deal.
Right.
How this is counted and cast and whether the trends continue for the next 5 years, which they probably will.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This is one projection. And again, the New York Times has their own, but of course they give the rosy Democrat scenario, which I think is a rosy Democrat scenario. That's just me. That's just what I think.
Right.
California, by itself, could lose anywhere from 2 to 6 electoral votes.
Wow.
Now, it's estimated there's probably 1 million illegals in California, but they're going to lose probably 2 no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. Texas will probably gain 2 or 3 no matter what.
Yeah. And that is without illegals.
Yes. I'm giving the rosy scenario here. And probably another 2 to Florida. Listen to this. Utah and Idaho projected to gain electoral votes.
Really?
Why is that? The census data suggests, I had to get this from a right-wing site, New York Times doesn't show all this, that people from eastern Oregon and Washington have been moving out of those states to escape Seattle and Portland politics and move to Idaho and Utah.
Huh.
Remember, in California, they were moving to Colorado and it made Colorado blue or bluer. But they're projecting, Montana already gained an electoral vote last time. And they're thinking that Idaho and Utah, two states that the last time they went Democratic was 1964. So they're going to go Republican. Okay. And that'll be 2 more Republican votes. Nebraska, by all indications, is going to get rid of their dividing.
Really?
Yeah.
So it'll winner take all.
Yes. I mean, there is already a movement. There's a lot of anger from Nebraska Republicans in that state. And I think they're lighting a fire under that. But the latest thing that I'm hearing is that they're going to probably get rid of that. They might wait till 2027 to officially do it after the midterms, but they're going to get rid of that one vote, which is another. Democrats have no chance to win that state.
No.
So you can move that. Arizona will gain an electoral vote. Other states to lose, Rhode Island is one, and Illinois to lose one. So you're talking about Trump won what? 315 electoral votes, was it?
Something like that. Yeah. I could look it up.
Yeah. But you're talking about if California loses, let's just say they lose 2. And let's just say Illinois loses 1, New York loses 2, Rhode Island loses 1, Minnesota loses 1, Illinois loses 1, and Texas, Florida, Arizona, Utah, Idaho are the gains.
Yeah.
You're talking about a somewhere between like a 12 to 16 electoral swing to the Republicans.
Wow.
Now that's just with the census.
Yeah.
Forget them winning any other states.
312.
312 he won. Yeah. Okay. So let's say the 2030 gives him 325. Okay. Where is the scenario where Democrats pull 270 from?
Yeah.
They could win the entire upper Midwest and still lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ohio's gone. Indiana's gone. Remember, Barack Obama won those states.
Yeah.
They're gone. Florida's gone. I mean, their only salvation is that a state like Georgia is becoming more purple for some reason.
Yeah.
But where's the scenario in which they flip that?
Yeah.
What state is it going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm trying to think about like Minnesota, and you take one away and what that would look like if we went down from 8 to 7.
Right, you'd have to totally redraw.
You totally have to redraw it.
You'd probably lose a Republican House seat.
We probably would, and unfortunately, I mean,
but you would gain one in Texas or Florida or something to.
Yeah.
Nationally, it would cancel.
But I look at like I'm trying to remember where it was, Portland. Or looking at how Oregon they draw theirs, and they take as many of them and split. They split Portland up as much as they can into different districts, so that it puts the blue out into as many.
Yeah, it gets a chunk of Portland everywhere.
Yeah, and so I could see them trying to do something like that here. You know, they have a lock on 4 and 5, but 3 and 2 they're trending kind of Democratic, but they're still up for grabs, and the rest of the state is very red.
Yeah, 1 has dipped from blue to red. 8 has gone from blue to red.
Yeah.
7 has gone from a blue dog guy to red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is different. And then 6 has been strongly Republican Emmer, through Bachman, through Mark Kennedy. It's been there for a while. But if you chop them, if you make 7, how do you draw the districts then?
Well, I mean, if you have things kind of coming out of...
Yeah, I think they would probably try to take... It would be 4-3 because you'd have to have 3 outstate districts.
Yeah.
The only thing that they could do is to try to chop one to the point where, because if you make 8 bigger, that's going to make it more conservative. You'd have to make it smaller to have Duluth and Lake County and Cook County,
You could maybe draw the line down through Cloquet and Pine City and I don't know.
Possibly. I think you're going to have 3 Republicans no matter what, because you're going to have 3 outstate districts.
Yeah.
You're going to have the South with Mankato, Rochester, Albert Lee, Red Wing. The only thing you could do is cut off of it somehow. You could make it more purple, but I think it would be hard to make the district blue the way it is now.
Yeah. I think 6 they're really going to try.
6 they've tried to. They tried to make Michelle Bachmann move to Washington County. At one time, but they couldn't. They didn't have the votes to get that through. I think it's going to be tough with 6 because you have that entire Highway 10 corridor there that you'd have to break that in half somehow. Yeah. And if you have a one less district, I don't know how you do that. One more district and you could split that up.
Yeah.
But one less one and
I don't know. I guess we'd have to see. Like with Oregon, I mean, it's a different setup because it's a rectangle, but it's like all of the districts seem to come to a point in Portland, and so.
But I think,
don't know.
I think that's one of the things maybe that's happening in those states is the leaving, and going to another state. I mean, it's so sad that we have to be migrants in our own country.
Yeah.
To escape these. But that's another thing, if you're a Democrat, why don't you look around and see?
They're willing to go down with a ship. And I don't know.
The Titanic's sinking, they give somebody else their life jacket. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Instead, they'd rather take a rowboat with a hole in it.
Yeah. A hole in your rowboat, dear Liza, or whatever it was. Or was it a bucket, dear Henry?
It was a bucket, yeah.
Whatever. Same difference.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, the Electoral College, and of course, look, that's assuming everything stays the way it is. That's the biggest if on the face of the earth. There's states like Texas that still worry me a little bit.
Yeah.
That the Bush-Cheney faction is still kind of the main Republicans there, whereas Florida is more the MAGA, and I have more confidence in the MAGA, so it's kind of like, I don't know. There's states like Arizona that worry me a little bit. I'm a little worried without Trump on the ballot. It just seems to be different if he's there. And, and it just...
I think JD can hold his own.
I think in 28 he can. I worry a little about 26 without Trump there, because if you look at, even though he won Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, or we lost the Senate races there, and so even him winning those states wasn't enough to pull that. So if we don't win it with him on the ballot. Because I think Michigan is the sleeper Senate race in 26 with Rogers running again. The Dems are in a 3-way bloodbath. Everybody thought that Congresswoman Haley Stevens, was going to walk to it, but she's being opposed on her left,
right,
by a couple of wackos who are raising a lot of money. And so Rogers is pretty much unopposed. He's a MAGA guy. He nearly won last time. He lost by like half a point.
Yeah. And
I mean, he's just sitting there raising money. And I think that's the sleeper race. But God, to not win it last time when Trump, and look, Michigan's changing. Their voter base, the unions and stuff, they're not automatic Dem votes anymore.
Right.
They just have to keep tapping into that. And I just fear without Trump doing it that like he's like the only guy who can. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
maybe that won't happen.
I guess we'll see. And I worry here at the state level with whoever. I mean, right now we have a ripe opportunity. We have a loser for a governor, a nutball that everybody knows is a nutball, but yet in putting in somebody that is not Governor Walz, I think you can still tie him to Governor Walz. Plus, with not having Ken Martin at the head of the party, you have a newbie at the head of the party. It is ripe for the taking. However, if you have a governor candidate that runs the same old tired race, that only goes to Republicans, that only talks about no new taxes, that refuses to stand on any of these MAGA principles that have made Donald Trump so popular, you're going to be a loser too.
It's got to be us versus the elites.
Yeah.
That's what it has to be. Not conservative liberal, not Republican Democrat. That's how Trump did it. That's how he went across party lines. That's how he got union members. It's how he got minorities. He tapped into something. We have to keep it up. But I don't see that on the Republican Party here. I really don't. I still think we're going to win the endorsement. We're going to out-conservative the next guy.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to the same groups, the same people, but the same people in charge of the campaigns who haven't been part of a winning campaign since, I don't know when.
Yeah.
Hubert Hoover days. I mean, it's just, I don't see that changing here, and I don't see that figure who is, I think, again, Minnesota needs its own Trump. They need their own person who is not part of the system, who doesn't care about all these little groups who are loud and have no money. I mean, Royce White, I have more money in my checking account than he had in his campaign account. I mean, it's going to take money to win this. And there's just no emphasis on that. The party doesn't raise money. They don't register voters. They don't take as the Republicans have gotten good at that everywhere else, Minnesota's been in quicksand. And it's ripe here. It is. I mean, Trump got 1.5 million votes in this state. 1.5 million.
The votes are there. The votes are there. If we can harness those votes, go get new registered voters wherever we got to go get them. Go to the truck stops. Go to the rodeos. Go to all these different places and get the votes. And then if we can do something about the whole, same-day registration debacle.
Well, we can't do anything about that until we win.
Until we win. But they had better, if we win, they had better tackle that.
Well, there's an alternative, too, and that's to get better at it than they are.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't we do, instead of whining about it, why don't we do better than them?
Yeah.
Instead of, like what Trump said about early voting. You know how he was against it? Now he was like, no, let's go beat them at it.
Yeah.
And that's what his campaign did.
Yeah.
They beat them at it.
Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Do it better than they do. So that's another thing. I mean, we're right to complain about that. We're right that that's unfair. We're right that mail-in ballots are corrupt. Not an absentee ballot. That's different when you personally request it. But to get an automatic ballot in the mail, I mean, that's ridiculous. You know? So, I mean, we're right on the issue. But the only way we're going to overturn that is to do what they did in Georgia. Win elections and change the law. And look at the outcome.
Right.
Okay? So that's what has to happen. And that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Jay, we've talked enough. I feel like I haven't played the sign-off sermon song in a while.
Yeah, it's been since the last episode.
Yeah, whenever that was. All right. Styling, profiling, jet flying, limousine riding, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. Jay.
Yes.
Give us the end. Give us the end of the show.
All right. Listen up, everybody. You know, I think I want to go back to the open on this, or maybe not the open, the middle part, where we were talking about what's going on in Minneapolis and what we're going through. And you got a Democrat Party that sits and rips on prayer, that says that prayers are not enough, you need action. You know what? It just proves that they don't understand. That they don't have the relationship with God that provides them with wisdom to do the right thing. They stick by their Democrat talking points. They downplay what you are able to do as someone that follows God. You have a God that led Moses to go back to Egypt and then lead his people out into the wilderness, and eventually through Joshua leading them into the promised land. You have King David, who outwitted many an opponent. You have so many things where it seems hopeless, but when you put your trust in the right place, when you go to the right place for wisdom, answers present themselves. But when we look down on prayer, when we say that your prayers don't mean anything, we need action, that's where we get into trouble, because we move ahead of God. We don't wait for the wisdom. We move in our own ability, which is limited because we're just people, you know? And so it's another case of where in science you have the constant and you have the variable. You can't measure a variable against a variable. You got to measure it against a constant. And that is what we need to do. We need to get back to where we live by a moral code that is constant, that is enforced, that, yes, we deal in mercy when it's warranted. We deal in grace where it's warranted. But we don't give away the farm just because somebody checks off some boxes, because they're underprivileged. If they have 33 violations on their rap sheet, maybe it's time they spent some time in jail reflecting on what they did. And if they can't be resuscitated, maybe it's time they don't come out at all. Those are just the hard truths. That as we look at the constant of what we believe, of our moral code, that we don't leave people just to wither and die, but we take care of them. But we don't, we have a safety net, but we don't have a place for people to become slaves to the government. Because if you look at in Exodus, where Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream, they store up all this grain during 7 years of prosperity, for 7 years of famine. His family comes, they're reunited, and Israel grows into this great nation living in the land of Goshen. And it says that the people of Egypt became slaves to Pharaoh, and they sold what they had so that they could continue to receive from the government. That is the problem. We put so much dependency on government that we are becoming slaves. We are becoming dependent. And the more that we see AI coming on the scene and people lose jobs and they're going to have to retool or face... I know there are Democrats out there that want to... have universal basic income where you're just receiving money because AI is taking all your jobs. That cannot happen. We need to have a reason to get up in the morning. We need to have a reason to live. So if you're out there and you hear this and you think, yeah, these things are coming, they worry me, I hear that. Now is the time to stand. Now is the time to think about throwing your name in. Whether it's a city council, whether it's a county board, whether it's a school board, whether it is for a state race. soil and water conservation, sheriff, whatever it is. It's time to think about putting your name forward and sacrificing so that your kids, your grandkids, their kids can live with freedom rather than having to live in slavery. And I tell you, it is not by our own means that we will be successful. It is by putting our reliance upon God and then being obedient to follow where we feel Him lead. And if we will not sacrifice, if we will only make ourselves God and say, no, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, this is what makes me happy, I'm not going to sacrifice, then we're going to get what we truly deserve, and it won't be good. Won't be good for us, won't be good for those that come after us. So you got a choice to make. If you're interested in stepping in and you're thinking about it, now is the time to start putting your organization together, because you've got to be ready for the convention process come February. You got to have your stuff laid out, your website done. You got to have a team together. Why don't you give us a jingle? You can maybe not call us, but give us an email at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That is commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. We would love to help you. And by the way, if you're interested in doing a podcast, being a citizen journalist, telling people what's going on where you live, we would love to help you get that started too. To do what we've done here, sitting here almost 350 episodes in. We have been doing this for now 9 seasons. Hey, we would love to share the wealth. So anyways, that's what we got for you this week. Think it over in your brain for a while, but let's go after it. Let's get it. We can win this and turn this state around when we cut out the corruption. We just have to come together. We love you, Minnesota, but now it's your turn to get to work.